Welcome to the Amazon's podcast. I'm Glenn Young, owner of Amazon's fitness magazine. Celebrate the female physique. Subscribe to AmazonsFitMag.com. The podcast is brought to you by GPS Photography and Video. Why photography and video? Because of a photo is worth 1,000 words, video is worth 1,000,000. GPSPhotoandVideo.com. My guest, IFBB Women's Physique Pro Olympian, Marika Beal. Thanks for coming back on the podcast.
You're welcome. Happy to be back.
Well, after switching computers and figuring stuff out, I don't know. But now we're on another computer, so hopefully we're good. I hate technical difficulty.
It happens, though. You got to figure it out, so it's cool.
Yeah. So how are you doing?
I'm hanging in there. It's been a year already, and we're only in April, but I'm focused on the things that I can control this year. That's it.
Right. So you were supposed to do Vancouver. What happened?
I was supposed to do the Van Island Showdown, and I booked my flight and hotel way far out because this was the plan. Like from November, this was the plan. But before I booked, I knew that the promoter had given me all the information about the best bet was to fly into Seattle and get a ferry from Seattle to Victoria. So before I booked my hotel and my flight, I looked at the ferry site. I was like, oh, okay, well, they have two ferries running. They have one running at like 8 in the morning and 11. So the flight that I found was straight through and it get in at 9:14. So I was like, okay, that'll give me enough time to get my bag, get from the airport, get to the ferry center by 11. I should be good to go to that ferry to get there. And they said they had the same thing coming back. So that's how I booked my stuff. So when I went to actually go book the ferry, they were like, oh, well, we only have one ferry running and it runs at 8 a.m. We don't have a second ferry.
They canceled it?
I don't know if it's due to the season, but online it said that they had the two ferries. But when you called, it said that they didn't. So the online website wasn't accurate, right? And so then the ferry back from Victoria would leave at 5 p.m., but my flight left at 6. It's a 4-hour ferry ride. So then I had no way, I wouldn't have been able to get home. And this was the first time booking not Southwest. So of course with Southwest, you can kind of move and change and it might, you could pay the difference and it might not be bad. But this one there was no cancellation on my flight. You had to cancel it and rebook and lose all of your money. So then I was like, okay, well, maybe I found a solution to get to Victoria on Friday because I always go in 2 days earlier just to let travel and inflammation die down. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe I can just get a hotel close to where the actual ferry spot is, get it on that ferry at 8 a.m. that next day, get to Victoria on time. But the problem with it is the actual getting back as well. There still was not a ferry that was going to get me back from Victoria to Seattle in time to catch my flight. They suggested seaplanes. I have severe flight anxiety. There's no way I'm getting on a seaplane. So that was not the deal. So then I reached out to a promoter. I was like, hey, I'm hitting all the walls that I can hit. And he was like, okay, reach out to this person. Reached out to her and she was like, well, maybe you can do a flight from Seattle into Victoria. And I'm like, I wish I would have known that I could have done a flight from Victoria to Seattle, from Seattle to Victoria, and vice versa, versus the ferry, because I would have much rather spend 45 minutes in the air versus 4 hours on a ferry while I'm getting, eating, drinking water, all those different things. I would have rather done that. So I looked into that, and that would have been an additional $600. And I was like, I don't have it. Either that or rent a car, drive 2.5 hours to like another ferry port, get on the ferry with the car. It was just too much. And I was just like, the stress of the travel would have affected my body a little bit more than I would have. I kept hitting all the different walls. So I was like, since I'm hitting all these walls, I'm just gonna chuck it up as it's not meant for me to be there. So it kind of sucks because my body was responding very well, peaking very well. And I was just like, okay, well, you know, it happens. I can't control
Yeah.
it. It just kind of sucked because the promoters were very communicative, talked, answered all my questions,
Hmm.
could not make it. So it
So
kinda
your
sucked.
cortisol levels would have been off the charts.
It would have been insane. And I would have just been
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
there's nothing I can do about it. So it was like just trying to figure out, making sure that I got, you know, where I need to go. And the political climate was also something that was like
Yeah.
unnerving to me.
Yeah.
And so I was
All
like,
the
I
stuff.
just did additional issue with it.
Right.
Like, I'm comfortable that the promoters were going to make sure we were safe and everything was all good, but it was just getting to Victoria was just going to be the issue.
Yeah. And
So,
it's sad because, like you said, the political climate, and then always traveling overseas can be sort of tough, and you got to get there early. Then, of course, true to form, the St. Louis Pro was this weekend also, and of course, he did not have women's physique, so that's just another thing to contend with as well. Because you always want to have a home game if possible. So I'm so
yeah,
sorry this happened to you, because I tell you, would have loved to see you on stage. You never know, because Olympia slots are at a premium. Every year is different as far as the number of shows, but thankfully, women's physique has a lot more shows than women's bodybuilding. So you're gonna be all
yeah.
right. So, what are you gonna do now? Can you say what show you're gonna do now?
Yeah, I
You
mean,
do
I'm not
Pittsburgh.
necessarily, yeah. I was going to try to do Pittsburgh just because like of the enormity of this show and
Hmm.
wanting to be that competitor that gets out there and supports the different shows. But flights, great. I found a really cheap flight. Hotels were ridiculous. I don't know if it's because they
Mm.
knew this huge event was coming. I want to
Hmm.
say hotels were at least no less than 250 a night. And that's at
Yeah.
a crappy hotel. I was like, I'm not gonna stay at no rinky dink hotel that I have to drive a crazy amount of distances because I've driven in Pittsburgh because I've done North Americans like 2 or 3 times and I've done
Hmm.
I think Masters Nationals. It was the first time I did it was when I won my pro card. I rented a car. And something that should be up the road in Pittsburgh will send you up some hills, down some hills, and
Oh yeah.
it's like I'm not. I didn't think about it. We thought about New York.
Hmm.
I had a good experience in New York last year, but my biggest thing is not
That's right. You
going
did
broke.
do New York. Hmm. I said that's right. You did do New York.
That was my first time doing New York, and I wanted to do Pittsburgh last year just because I
Hmm.
love Pittsburgh. I love the
Hmm.
city. Everything is just a good place. It just didn't line up in timing with what I had going on with my daughter in life, so I couldn't do it last year. So that's why I opted for New York Pro last year. I was like, I have to do a big
Hmm.
show. Olympia
Yeah.
can't be the only big show that I've ever done. Like it cannot.
Right.
So that was important to me. Like I said, I'm vaguely blinking at New York, but I'm right now. Um, thought is Shreveport,
Hmm.
and
Optimum Classic. So there's actually 3 shows in May: Pittsburgh, New
yep,
York, Optimum Classic, and they all right after each other too. So.
yep, yep. So I mean, it's a thought because, like I said, my
Hmm.
body is still responding very well. Like I took so that Thursday I took that weekend off
Hmm.
and lowered my cardio and gave me more food all this past week just because we was like, let's just reset and
Hmm.
go. But my body is also responding very well to it. So um like I said, officially right now is Shreveport.
Okay.
Not that I like to hide my shows. It's I don't like all the extra stuff that comes with it when people know where you're going to
Oh
be
yeah,
because there's
yeah. The
so
the
much.
the whole social media spin up to it. Yeah.
And I'm saying it. I'm sure it's going to get out. It does. I'm not hiding it, but I may get off of social media for like
Hmm.
4 weeks prior to the show and just focus solely on bringing my best. I want to be a two-time Olympian. I'm very focused on that. I told my coach recently because this prep, I wasn't in it like in my head. Like I was doing it and I looked good, but my mind was just
Mm,
not there. I was with so much stuff like work related and different things like that. And I just it was rough. It was hard. And I was like, and
mhm.
that's fine. Hard. That doesn't bother me. But after this happened, it kind of woke me up and I'm like, okay, let's do this. 5 weeks to bring the best physique that I've ever brought to the stage.
Right.
Me personally, how I feel about my physique. So that's the plan.
And of course, you want to get a good gauge. That's why you want to do the big shows. But at the same time, you can't listen to the noise. I mean, yeah, all the podcasts, they'll put a spin on it, um, give you paralysis by analysis. And of course, everybody's excited about the new season as well, you know,
Mhm.
and it is very early. But you got a gauntlet of shows, with Pittsburgh, New York, Optimum Classic in Shreveport. And then, June, July, you got Chicago, Tampa, and then of course Linda Murray. So
Yeah, I'm right. Like right now, like I said, it's Shreveport and Omaha. So Omaha
gotcha.
is like
Yeah,
I think the following
Omaha
weekend,
Pro. Yeah.
and I can drive
Well, I'm
to
still
Omaha.
trying to get it. Yeah.
Huh?
How far? Yeah. How far a drive is that for you?
It's like a 6 hour drive, but
Okay.
that's pretty. That's not bad for me.
No, it's
If I
not.
right, it's about the same amount of time as spending in the airport traveling
Yeah. Yeah.
my car straight shoot, go to Omaha, drive back, get whatever I need. So, um, those are my thoughts right now.
Yeah. Yeah. 'Cause by the time you do the layovers, you could have then drove there. So yeah. But like I
Yep.
said, it's early. I know you're excited. I got no doubt you're going to be a two-time Olympian. As you look at the shows out there and you look at the competitors, but you never want to miss a show or
Mm.
miss an opportunity, I should say. Uh,
Yeah, it hurt a
there's
little
still
bit.
plenty more out there.
It hurt, but it's okay. It wasn't meant to
Yeah.
be.
So looking at women's bodybuilding, I think there's a total of 10, and then they almost lost Tampa, and now Tampa's back. So yeah, that's what you got to look at. So
It's
women's
kind of
physique does have about more shows.
it's insane. I'm
Mhm.
hoping my goal as a IFBB pro and Olympian is to keep showing up one and get to a space where I can give back, where I
Mhm.
can sponsor a show for WPD.
There you
Um,
go.
that's kind of my goal is to be able to do something where instead of taking away, I can add to more shows for WPD.
Mhm.
Don't know how and when that's going to happen. I'm working on some things in the background, but we'll see.
And the thing about that's been a topic of discussion the whole season so far too. Is just everybody coming together, promoters and competitors, and coming up with a solution, not just to get more shows, but to get more prize money. So if the sanction fee is anywhere, $10,000, then you would like that prize money to be as a starting point. I think $10,000 as well. So it's just all
Yeah,
coming together and how you can come up with it. Because yeah, you can pay the sanction fee, but it's kind of hard to go do a show and you can pay $1,500, $2,000.
yeah,
That can weigh on you.
yeah,
And
and
I
that's
know a lot of the female promoters are doing all that they can as well. When you look at Triple O and what Sid Gillian did and what Andrea Shaw did, so it's coming.
yeah. I just honestly wish that it was more WPD Olympians or top Olympians that were doing more than just Sarah.
Ah, okay, yeah,
I think Sarah's doing her best where she is to bring Texas in the forefront, and have such a thing that is going to bring out all of the women. I mean, Pittsburgh
hmm
turned it around, but it's still not as much as some of the other categories are, which
right,
is understandable. They're going to go where the money is. I understand that. But like as a
hmm
competitor, if I was a top Olympian, if I was year over year getting top two, top three, then some of that money honestly would get if I'm getting paid to go to gigs and guest posts, some of that would be put into at least one show in my area. It
hmm
would to be that would be my goal.
And you start looking at the states that have a lot of shows, such as Florida, Texas has a lot, California, but they're like way on the fringes. Eight now. I wish North Carolina had more pro shows. Um, they just had the Charlotte Pro, and they had women's bikini and men's physique, and like, okay. I ended up
They
not going. So yeah, but it is what it is, and you never want to tell somebody how they should spend their money, and I think it's in everyone's purview to give back, because that's the only way it's going to get better. You got to be the catalyst for change, whether you're trying to be a
yeah,
promoter or whether you're trying to give out sponsorship money or sponsor your category or your division. Uh, it's really going to be on the competitors a lot, especially women competitors, to get this thing started, because everybody else has gone as far as they want to go, it seems. But like I say, I
mhm,
like to see at the end of the season, everybody come together, sit down and talk. It's like, this is what we need. This is what we need. And the big ringing that I'm still hearing, is from the promoter side of it, especially women's bodybuilding got to show up. Women's physique is showing up, but then it's a thing of the prize money got to go up. And only the big dogs are going to, that's the whole thing too. It's the status quo. You get out there to where you're giving $15,000, $20,000 prize money to women's physique, women's bodybuilding, or any of the categories, you're going to pull them big dogs out. And so
yeah,
that's part of it too. But to be at the show, which is the ultimate, to make that stage, you got to go compete and you got to go and win. So
mhm.
round and round we go.
Yeah. It's the game of numbers and strategy. It's at a point
Hmm.
in time. For me, I would prefer to get out early. That way I can
Yep.
let my body rest. That way,
Right.
when I'm Olympia, you're going to get possibly the best body that I've had all year versus me dragging myself from show to show, peak to peak. It's not, for me personally, it's not great
Right.
on my body. And I think sometimes it shows when you're running shows like that and then you step on Olympia stage and now you're not at your best. That's the
You
show you
ran out
want
of
to
gas.
ride. And then by that point in time, you done cardioed yourself out. You have, you know,
Yeah.
dieted yourself out. It's hard. This is very
And
hard
then
on
you've
the
been
body.
on prep. So, like, when did you start prep this year?
Um, I started prep like pretty much January, but I started mentally getting myself
Hmm.
ready in December. But January, like I generally do longer preps because I have so much muscle. It takes a while for my body to start like leaning out and to get it together.
November. Yeah. The Olympia was in the first week in November. Then this year's first week of October. So
That
that
was the
sort of
first.
cuts it off too. And
It was the first week of October last year. It was like October
it
10th
was?
through, yep, because I missed
Okay.
my daughter's homecoming. Her
Oh, well,
homecoming was
yeah.
the day I was
Oh,
on
it's
stage.
closer to November. But at any rate, we're right at the coming up on the 5-month period now. Everybody's trying to get qualified, of course, and you want to get qualified early, but there's still plenty of time, especially for women's physique, because you have more shows.
Yeah, more shows, still not enough shows, but more shows. So I'm
Well,
just
a
like I said,
lot more than women's bodybuilding. So,
it is a
what would
lot
be?
more. Like it is a lot more than women's bodybuilding. And I hate that for them because those women
Mhm.
deserve to be shown just as much as any other. All of us do, really.
Yeah.
Um, and it's really unfortunate. But for me, I'm not going to take a long off season to grow. Like I'll grow myself
Hmm.
right out of my story. Like I don't have to do all of that. So because I did the show in November, and then I turned around and went back mentally. Like I had my fun, and I got myself mentally back into prep mind in December, and
Right.
then start officially in January. So I'm not
Do
going to
you?
ever take super long off seasons. Like it just doesn't work for me.
Oh, really? Okay, I understand. So to take off a year would hurt you.
I don't necessarily. It would be very strategic, but
Hmm.
if if I grow anymore, I will grow myself out of the category. So I am very intentional about how I
Hmm.
train. I'm not out here banging heavy weights first and foremost.
Hmm.
I'll be 40 this year. I don't need any major injuries trying to eco lift. That's just not my thing. I don't think it's
Right.
necessary. And I don't think it's what the division calls for, which is where we are having issues now, is that everybody just thinks bigger, 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 bigger. and they're still in women's physique, but that's not the category. So that's where we're having issues. But I believe it's also a little bit of the inconsistency in judging across the board. Like you just never know what they're going to go for, either way it goes. So
Mhm.
just trying to, just try to. For me, I just try to bring the best that I can bring,
Mhm.
and without being growing myself out of my category. So, like I said,
And you
I
definitely saw that last year from New York and then to Texas. Like, okay. And then when you got to the Olympia, I think you saw it again, but it depends on what the judges are looking for. Um, and if they stick to the category, stick to the definition, yeah, I get it. But at the end of the day, it depends on who that on that judging panel and what they're looking for. Because you can get the judges' feedback and you hear 10 different things by the time you get, well, like today it's April now, and by the time you get to um, October, here we are. It only counts when you get to the Olympia, uh,
right,
and or that particular day when you're trying to get that qualification.
right,
So
yeah.
you don't see yourself, you grow yourself out of the division. You don't want to come up to women's bodybuilding,
Not right now. No, it's
and you're
not.
one of the taller. How tall are you?
I'm only 5'5", but for whatever reason, I seem tall on stage. Like
Yeah,
I'm
you
hovering
look really
over
tall,
that.
like
Yeah,
in the 5'7" range. So maybe just
I'm
the way you wear it.
it has to be, but I'm only 5'5", and
Hmm.
when I did New York, Tyler's feedback was more quads.
Okay,
So
your
I
legs.
focused on that. I mean, I could see that because my back is so overpowering, but my arms are not overpowering either. So
Hmm.
it's a balance. Like for me, I want to make sure I have that shape on stage, and
Right,
so that was a huge focus, and it's still the focus to make sure that my waist is small, my upper body it has that the shape that I would like it to have.
right,
So I'm not like a block on stage.
exactly. You want that V taper? You can bring up the legs and stuff, and just go from there. And
Yeah,
that's great feedback because as a fan, I tell you, I think a lot of fans do want bigger is better, or everybody knows they like. Me as a photographer, everybody looks good, so
yeah,
I can't help you at all in that regard because I'm trying to shoot everybody I can, and everybody does look good. The thing I
yeah,
would say for competitors, you got to capture your journey more. Take more photos, do more videos from the standpoint once you get to that stage, because not everybody's going to look like that forever, especially when you go in the off season. So you got to enjoy the journey more. I think I see more competitors, not just young, some older, stressing out, about okay, get the qualification, get this, get that, and they really haven't enjoyed the journey because it is quite an accomplishment to make it to the Olympia stage because not everybody gets there. And
yeah,
then when people talk about there's too many pro cards, not everybody gets a pro card. Let's just be clear. They don't. You can say they're giving them away or there's a lot more pro cards, but you know, on the flip side, you can see just as many competitors that never get that pro card.
yeah,
So nothing to
yeah.
sneeze at.
Do that. I'm trying to document a little bit more. It's harder. Um, and like I say, for me, I don't have an entourage. It's me and myself in the gym. When I go
Yeah,
compete, me and myself with maybe one other person. Like it's I'm not walking around with a makeup artist. I'm not walking around
yeah,
with the
yeah.
I'm not walking around with a tripod because for the most part, when I'm training, it's
You're
intentional.
training. Yeah,
I'm in the gym. I have this amount of time in between lunch and my next meeting to get my work done. This isn't where I make my bread and butter on. Like I'm actually,
right.
professional corporate worker, so I have things that
Hmm.
I so it's a little bit harder for me. And I think I'm full transparency after November. I was a little bit taken back and it took me a while to get out of my own head because I I can't figure out, and this is on me because I never got the feedback, and I probably never will. And
Hmm.
that's just being realistic. That's not me being bitter or anything, but I can't imagine what I could have possibly done to get the placing that I got. And I don't. I'm not bitter about it. I just wasn't that judge's cup of tea that day, but it did.
Hmm.
It does you, the more you're seeing spotlights to people who have 100K followers who just decided that they wanted to jump into a show and everybody's applauding this person and things are happening. So it's a little bit different for me. I'm a little bit more reserved in terms of always posting my every move of my my
Right.
journey. I feel like sometimes my journey is for me. Everybody's
True.
going to see it on stage. I don't want my journey to be convoluted by others' opinions on social media. So I kind of take it from a standpoint as I talk to myself. I have myself. These are the things that I can control. I can't control outside noise because once you invite people into that space, now you're inviting them all into that outside noise into your personal reflections of how
Yes.
you view yourself. And so
Very true.
I don't do as much. I do wish for Olympia. I remember me and Sharonica were walking. I don't know where we were walking to, and she was like, "How you feel?" I think we were leaving athletes meeting. I was like, "I feel good." I mean, I made it to the biggest stage. She was like, "You're not nervous?" I said, "Nervous for what?" Everybody on that stage is the best. You know, it's not about qualifying again or hoping that I'm good enough to qualify. Whatever was to happen on that stage, I know that this is the best of the best that year.
Right. You're right.
They have fun shows. It does not matter. The work is done. There's nothing more that I can do to show up any better, and the judges are going to tell us what it is.
Right.
I was like, that was a cool feeling to have because I think that was the first time I've had that feeling in my bodybuilding career. That like the work is done. There's nothing else to worry about. There's nothing that you can do. You're on the stage with the best of the best. These ladies work their ass off. You work their ass off. You're gonna bring it. They're gonna bring it. It's what the cards are gonna fall wherever they are gonna fall at
Right.
this point. And so I wish that I would have documented. If I was smart, I didn't know. Literally, everybody had a camera crew with them everywhere they went. Everybody had
Yeah.
T-shirts. The
Yeah.
fans. I was like,
Well, we
oh,
talked about this. I said, "Hey, you gotta have it for." Oh, nobody's gonna come to my say, "Hey, you're an
okay.
Olympian." Trust me. Everybody
I
and
have
mama
the
you would not
photos.
think would come up to you. Gonna come up to you.
I have the photos, and I made sure to have that. And I remember
hmm
because it's another Olympian here named Liz. Liz
hmm
qualified one of the very last shows for figure right before
Okay.
we were in House of Pain. And I was like, she was like, I don't know what to expect. I was like, I didn't know what to expect. This is all I know. This is what you're supposed to do. This is what you need. She was like, I need photos. I said, go get some photos. You need them
Yep.
for me. This is what I was told. So it was both of our journey together, our very first Olympia. And we're in the St. Louis area together. So we kind of banded together to figure out kind of what we needed. Um, so, next time I might at least have a photographer with me or a camera crew.
Hey.
Somebody. It was just outrageous. It was like camera
Yeah.
crews following people to Starbucks to get a cup of
Yep.
coffee at
Yeah.
4 in the morning, and I'm just like, "Is this real? Like, what is
I
happening?"
mean, it can be overwhelming, and it definitely can be overwhelming as a fan too. I remember my first Olympia that I actually went to in 2023, and yes, I've been into Arnold's, and yes, I've been at a lot big pro shows, not just the NPC shows. And yeah, it's overwhelming because you're trying to get that content, especially you're a photographer, you're trying to get bookings, and I found that if competitors do well, everybody's grabbing at them, pulling at them, and so and then if they can get down in the dumps as anybody, would, and they be like, I don't want to do no shoots, I don't want to talk to nobody, I just want to get on the plane and go back home. And that's why I say you got to capture the journey. You know, when you look back at it and you're talking about the show that you did right after the Olympia that left a bad taste in your mouth. I mean, what specifically bothered you about that? Was it the
So
judging, or was it too soon after the Olympia, or you certainly didn't take the Olympia for granted?
it was going from seventh place at the Olympia to the worst place that I've ever had as a pro,
Mm,
and it looked good. So I don't know. That's why I left a bad taste in my mouth because
mhm,
it made me feel like that no matter how hard I work, somebody could just be like, "No, I don't care. I don't get her out of my
mhm.
face." You know what I mean? That's kind of what it felt. That's what it felt like. I don't know. I'm not saying that that's what the judge's intentions were. I'm not talking bad about. I'm sorry, my dog is literally having a zoomies. Um, I'm not talking bad about the judge. I'm not talking bad about any of the actual pieces to it because I could have just not been that
Mm-hmm.
person. Cup of tea,
Mm-hmm.
but to be released off the stage when I didn't get first call outs, I was like, okay, that's a little bit weird at this point in time. And I was just like, you know what, whatever, let's do this. And
Mm-hmm.
then released off stage with the top 10, and then to come back to finals and not be in the top 10, I was just like, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
What could I have possibly done? And then when I look at videos, I'm like, I looked good. I don't know what it was.
Were there a lot of Olympians in the show?
It was me and Natalia.
Okay.
And I think that there was a former bodybuilding Olympian that was
Mm-hmm.
there. But I I'm very. It is what it is. I don't have any
Yeah.
words. I don't know what they were looking for. I don't know what the case may be, but it definitely made me second guess how
Mm-hmm.
much I would be competing. Not because I lost. That's not it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm a true athlete at heart. But it's like you can literally work your ass off, and somebody that day could just be like, no. It didn't matter how much money you spent. It doesn't matter
Mm-hmm.
work. It doesn't matter what you presented. They just was like, no, whatever. And I know it's subjective.
Mm-hmm.
But that was it was a very it was a very jarring experience. Like it was very inconsistent and very jarring to be a part of.
Yeah. And one word you mentioned is very subjective, but to do what y'all do, everyone gets humbled. They do.
Hmm.
I mean, it just happens.
Hmm.
You can think you can think, oh, I'm gonna do this and that, and then it doesn't happen. Then you'll see times where you don't expect it that you're gonna
Hmm.
do that well, and you know you blow it up. So, and you're right, you can't get in your own head. It is subjective, and you got to shake the load off. I mean, you're still early in the game. You know, it is early
Yeah.
in the game. Think about and I'll even use Sharonica Hinton's story. When I met her, she was a two-time Olympian, and now
Hmm.
she's a six-time Olympian. But
Hmm.
she kept at it. She kept at it, um, and now she's number 3 in the world.
Yeah.
And so I, I will always encourage anyone, and as a photographer, have I been humbled? Yes. You can think that, hey, your work is this and that, and you see somebody else's work is like, dang, and then you'll see someone whose work is not as good as yours, yet they're getting all the bookings and all this and that, and so you can get inside your own head. But at the end of the day, just validate you and keep it moving, you know. But I got no doubt that you're gonna be fine. I mean, because hey, you're an Olympian. Can't nobody ever take that away. So now just go get this next one.
Right.
And again, y'all got y'all. When I say y'all, women's physique, y'all got plenty of shows.
Yeah.
And I mean,
I'm like I said, I'm ready to do it. Like I mean, like I
yeah.
said, me and Monica had a conversation about it, and she was telling me a little bit about her story, and we talked about it,
Mm-hmm.
and how she felt, and like I said, I felt that for a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
and I don't ever look around like, oh, I'm an Olympian. You like that wasn't even my mindset going into it, but could
Mm-hmm.
I improve on or at least bring almost the same look that I brought to the
Right.
Olympic stage
Right.
was my thought, going into it because I know I had pushed my body. That
Mm-hmm.
would have been 4 shows that year, two in the beginning and then two in the end. So not being able to do the show really was like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
we in it. Now we in it. We back. So it was something about this that made me flip a switch, a different
Right.
type of
There
switch.
you go.
So we'll see what
Every show
happens.
is different. Every show is
Yeah.
different. You can't take what happened in the previous show and take it in the next one. And you can't take what happened in your last show going forward. So, um,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, I'm a photographer, so you're already winning. Because I think everybody looks great, and
Yeah.
so and that's what we do. We're the quintessential participation trophy. Photographers are, because and it's true. You look good. You look great, and we want to capture that. Our job is not to mess that up. That you've been in prep X, Y, and Z, however long, and you want to have a great experience in that of a photo shoot. So look at it
Right.
that way. 'Cause, pictures are undeniable. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
Yeah.
you can be vain and get in your own head, but hey, you put the work in, and it's going to
Yeah.
happen. Just like you said, it's just get in that room, and it's just you. And some competitors leave social media. Some ride the whole wave, posting every other day, taking cameras to the gym and all that stuff, which I'm sure is annoying to those that are going to the gym and they're just trying to get their work in. Uh, but set aside some time. I know one thing: you definitely need to get a YouTube channel going. If you just
Oh
did
my
a
God.
segment, I'm just saying, if you did a segment just called "Posing on the Porch," because when you put that photo up of you posing out there on the porch, you're killing it. I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
I have
And
a
all,
YouTube channel. It's like the editing, all of it. And you want to know what's crazy? I have a
yeah,
degree in editing art, so I actually learned how to do Photoshop, Adobe, and stuff in college. I just
there you go.
so time consuming. It's just like a whole nother job to
It
like
is.
edit and
It
make it.
is.
Excuse me, sir. Can you sit down, baby? Please. He's he's so he's so cute. But I and every year I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it, or I'm gonna
Mhm.
find somebody that's gonna help me do it. It's so much additional with everything that I have going on, with
Right.
actual my corporate job and what I
Right.
have to do that. And then take time to sit aside. And anytime that I am awake that I could go to sleep, I'm going to go to sleep every
Yeah.
single time.
There you
So
go.
the rest of my body, it doesn't matter.
Do you believe it's a thing of mindset from the standpoint? Are you a bodybuilder that's a hobbyist, or you're a bodybuilder that's trying to go to the top levels? You mentioned about the corporate world, and that's what you do. If this is this something that you can't do halfway, you got to be all in or all out. What's your thoughts on that?
I don't believe that. I don't
Okay.
believe that at all. I don't believe you have to be all in and all out. Like for me, a single parent, my
Mm-hmm.
job is to keep a roof over our head. My
Right.
job is to make sure my teenage daughter has everything she needs to be equipped with to go into the real world.
Your
That's
priority. Right.
my priority. Bodybuilding is something I do for me. It's
Mm-hmm.
something, but it doesn't necessarily define me. There are definitions of me being a mother. There's definitions of me being a two-time national championship cheerleader. There are definitions of me being an Olympian and a bodybuilder. I do this personally because I love the sport. I love the work. I love the consistency. I love the routine that might be the
Mm-hmm.
Virgo. But I do this for me. I don't necessarily believe that I have to be all in or all out. You don't really, unless you are a male at the very, very top, you are not making money like that to live off of bodybuilding. You're not,
Right.
especially not as a female, unless obviously sex sells and you have your OnlyFans and you're doing all whatever needs to be done for.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking about porn or anything like that. I know that there's like muscle sessions. I get asked
Mm-hmm.
about. I don't know anything about them, but I'm not knocking how anybody gets what they got, but I
Mm-hmm.
definitely have a degree and a good job that I don't take for
Right.
granted. I can work from home, which allows me to really also put focus in on
Right.
bodybuilding. I need to. It's not a job where I'm lifting and carrying things
Mm-hmm.
around, really just sitting at home doing computer work all day. So I don't necessarily believe that bodybuilding is something that you're all in and all out. Now, when you're in it, you're all in or you're all out, meaning
Okay.
you're all into making sure your rest recovery and
Mm-hmm.
everything. That's what you're all into. But that doesn't have to be your life. It doesn't have to be your whole identity. No.
Makes sense. And from the standpoint of the other part, the OnlyFans, the muscle sessions, or what have you, yes, sex sells, schmoes pay bills, but can you sell sex without selling sex? because there's a line that you cross. There's no coming back from that, because now you
Right.
got that label, and then years later you're up for some job, or you're up uh, from the even from the simple thing of kids googling on the internet. And I've seen that happen with some of the girls I've shot. They weren't doing sessions, they weren't doing OnlyFans, or they just taking photos. And then the kid goes to school and gets bullied and say, "Your mama this, that, and that," and there's a big fight. So there's a priority that you must set for yourself, and you got to go from there. Even me, as being a high school teacher, and then be able to shoot what I shoot, I'm very cognizant of not crossing the line. There's a gray area, and it's just not worth it, because of all the money that you would stand to make or may make, you know, may not be worth it, in the long run. And I don't know, I don't know too many drug dealers that ever retire. And the same thing with anyone that's in the sex industry. That's your thing. Yeah, there's big money. It's incredible the amount of money that they're making, because people that are involved in it. But I'm like, at the end of the day, you got to live with yourself. And if you can live with yourself and you lay your head down at night, then you're in a good place.
Listen, I don't knock anybody on how they getting it. With the way the world is going, they
Right.
might be on something here. They might be on something to get their life going. I am not knocking it by any means. It's just not something that I'm involved with, having a young daughter.
Right.
I already show my body enough, and I
Yeah.
make it known
Yeah.
that, like, I show my body because of the work. I'm not showing my
Mm-hmm.
body. Yeah, can I feel sexy? And the fact that I put this work in and I've used my body to its best capacity, yes, I
Yeah.
can. I don't feel any type of way about it, because I think over here in America, we overly sexualize our bodies, or
Mm-hmm.
like nudity is such a huge thing here because of like sexual predators and all that type of
Right.
stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's not as big overseas because you were born naked. Like, so it's
Yeah.
like a lot of
Yeah.
people don't take it necessarily as a sexual connotation, but here there's just, everybody has something to say about everybody,
Yeah.
every which way you're moving. They have something to say about you being a bodybuilder. You know what I mean? And so,
Mm-hmm.
like, my daughter is in high school track, and I go to the track meets. Obviously, I'm muscular, and I
Mm-hmm.
went to track meet the other day, and there was a group of little boys, and they see me coming up, and so the little boy thought he was trying to be funny. He wasn't a skinny little boy. He was a little chunky. He had some hips on him, and he goes, "Oh, smash!" And I looked at him, and I wanted to say, "Sir, sir,
Oh boy,
as
that's
you eat
crazy.
with these hips, I think you should probably stop." But it's
Yeah.
the, you know, it's the outer image that people see, and they don't even understand how much work it is. And it's
No,
and
they
I talk
don't.
about it, the fit shaming that a lot of bodybuilder and a lot of women with
Mm-hmm.
muscular, bodies go through. It's just because it's not the norm. Everybody's so used
Mm-hmm.
to overweight. There's no problem with that. That you have a little bit of muscle, all hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
But it's what it
And
is.
it gets me. I was that little boy. He coming into his own little hormones. Don't know how to talk to women, and especially little boys. And teenagers. Um, they haven't been taught. You should never say something like that to a woman. But at the same time, well, there's a lot of grown ass men doing it too. So I mean, he's had a bad example. But
He was trying to be funny, but not
oh yeah, in
realizing
front of his boys and stuff. Yeah,
I realized I was watching the whole time, and so I just looked at him. He was like, and then that's when they dispersed, because he was like, "Oh gosh, she's looking at me." I'm like, "Yeah, I am.
exactly. There you go. You think
Yeah,
you
I'm
think
looking
you about
dead
to
at
do?
I
You ain't
heard
so
you."
cool now.
Right. So it
Mm,
is what it is. I'm used to it. A lot of the young girls, the thing that makes me happy is a lot of the young girls on my daughter's track team, they're like, "Oh my God, your mom's so fit," or I'm the
yeah,
new hi mom, hi mama, and
there
it
you
makes me
go.
like, "Oh gosh, I'm old. I'm that mom now that everybody is calling mama," because they see me and they see an example when the girls want to have muscles. Even my daughter is coming around and wanting to be in the gym all the time and work on her legs, and she wants arms. "I need better arms, mom." I'm like, "You just got to keep going. You just got to keep
Right.
doing it. It's cool."
Well, you're a great role model, and they took it the right way. So you got two examples, that of things that happen to you. Just go with the one that's positive, and
Yeah.
they'll learn over time. I mean, they gotta live their life, but yeah, poor
It'll
fella, he didn't know no better. Anyway,
take some time. It'll take some time. Or poor guy, man. It's okay.
exactly, and I'm sure you get it from the dads too out there. They look when not saying nothing,
The
but at the
dads
same
don't
time,
bother as much as the women. The women
really,
really. Oh, the women hate to see a muscular woman come through. They hate it.
so
And
they
I
feel
don't just
challenged and they look at their own self.
right. It's I think it's the feeling of how can somebody else have that consistency and that patience to work on their body, and I don't have it. Is what I think it looks towards, but
No
it's not
question.
bad for the most part. I normally
Yeah,
wear a hoodie, so it's okay. When they don't
yeah,
see me in a hoodie, that's I generally stay pretty covered when I'm out in public.
hmm
Just 'cause I don't have the energy for it.
yeah.
Um, or people stopping me asking me questions. So
And I get the same thing with the magazine, and go out, people see it or show it, and they're like, "She look like a man." You get all the stuff that the negativity, and every now
mm,
and then I get the positive as well. So it's give and take. But at the end of the day, I'm not gonna stop doing it. And
right,
you got a great relationship with your daughter, which is important, and you got a great relationship with your job. So at the end of the day, do you and keep rolling. So that's good stuff. I'm glad you're going through it, but you're going through it. Put it that way.
going through it. I'm plowing through it. I'm going through it, but
Yeah.
only way through is the only way around is the only way through is what they say. I think I said it wrong, but you got to go through it.
Oh yeah,
Come
you got to go through it. At the end of the day, you're better for it. You learn from it, and you come to the conclusion like, hey, like me or love me, because that's the thing about getting older. You wish you could have the way you feel now about things when you're older, that you could have had that same attitude back when you were 15 and 16. But yet,
yeah,
that's not the way life goes, because everything that somebody said back then, it bothered you. And some of a bother as an adult, but you get to the point where you know what, fuck you.
right. I do, and that's why I'm like somebody asks me like what I'm most excited about. I was like turning 40. I'm just a different
Mhm.
person. A lot of things that I'm learning is I can be mad about something, but can I control it? If I can't control it, then why am I letting it keeping this hold on me?
You're
So I
right.
tell my people all the time is to control your controllables. If you can control it, then control it. If you can't, it is what it is. Move on to the next. It's the goal.
Yep, you're right. I really appreciate you coming on. I hope I didn't dip into your training time.
Nope, it's my
But
rest day. It is my rest
okay,
day. So I'm gonna do some cardio. See my stair stepper back here. And then
I
I'm gonna do
see.
stairs. My
That's a
Peloton.
nice one.
Listen, got it from Walmart.
You got that from Walmart?
Got it
Walmart
Walmart, baby.
online, not regular Walmart, did you?
No, not regular Walmart. Walmart
Okay,
online. They can
I
for
got you.
it. It's a really good one. And then I have my Peloton in the basement. I have a sauna in the basement too. And then my treadmill. So I'm gonna get up and do some cardio, watch some TV while I'm doing cardio, prep myself, get myself ready for work tomorrow.
hmm And you do
Easy
your
Sunday.
own meals and everything.
I do my own meals. I meal plan people. Meal prep companies. Help me.
Yeah, yeah. That's definitely the first sponsor to get the supplements and the meal companies, because yeah, that saves so much.
Yeah, Rule One is amazing. They're my new not my new because I started working with them right before Olympia, but they've been amazing. Products are amazing. I'll take
Good
it.
stuff.
So
How much was your stair stepper from Walmart?
I think I paid like 1,100 for it.
That's all. That's nice.
Listen, I caught it right when stair steppers started going online. I was just like Googling. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
yep, get that. Thank you. So
yeah. You got to shop. A lot of people I saw had some treadmills. Obviously, I guess they bought it like in December, and then the fun is over, or the thrill is gone, and now they sell them as low as $250. I think they paid
mm,
5, 7, 800 for it. I'm like, okay. So yeah,
yeah,
those deals are out there.
Yep, I snagged this one up. I knew that I was gonna need that because I think 2003 I was getting 2023, not 2003.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez, 2023 I was getting up at like 5 in the morning, getting to the gym, trying to get on the stairs to do my hour of cardio before all the other people that is up at 5 o'clock in the morning on the stair stepper. It was too much. I was like, oh, I can just roll out of bed, turn on the TV, put on an
There you
Avenger
go.
way. Okay, that's all I'm gonna do. So it
Just
works.
get up and go.
Yep.
Or if you can't sleep at night, you start it earlier. So,
Right. Either way it goes, it's right in my living room. I can just get up, turn on the TV, and go.
all right. So we got to make this shoot happen. It's the second year, so we'll
Oh,
talk.
I know. So much
I hate
action.
that you out there in St. Louis. I'm like, oh well, you're gonna have to
I
get
know.
on a flight.
I know. I gotta get to you. We gotta make it happen. If not, I mean, I probably am gonna come to Atlanta. I don't know if I'm gonna do the Atlanta Pro, but I'll probably be
Mm-hmm.
in Atlanta. I kind of want to do Texas. I just want to eat the food
Well,
in
I was
Texas.
leaving
I
that
know that's
big money. Yeah, I think everybody got Texas on the radar. What was it,
I,
15K last year? Yeah.
yeah, I think Texas again for the money
Yep.
and for the food.
There you
I'm
go.
taking
And the
it both.
person that's promoting it because she does a great
Yeah,
job with that. So
does do a
no
great. She
question.
does do a job. So thought about that, but we'll see. We'll see how I feel when I get close.
Yeah.
Um, go from there.
Well, appreciate you, and we'll definitely be talking. Last thing, do you see yourself going into coaching? I know you talk about you definitely want to do something for promotion and sponsoring athletes, but do you see yourself going into coaching?
Maybe I have one athlete. She's my best friend. I have convinced her to do her very first show. She did the Atlanta amateur side of it, and she only did true
Okay.
novice. She won
Okay.
that, but she could have won the overall, but she was like scared to do like the open, which was a
Wow.
mess. She's a wellness competitor, so
Okay.
she's a guinea pig right now. It's just that I don't want to get into a situation where I really, I just feel like sometimes people get into bodybuilding, do a few bodybuilding shows, and now they're a coach. Now they're
Oh yeah, yeah,
things. Now they're posing coaches, and it's too
yeah.
much. I have one posing client, and I have one actual coaching client. Posing, I probably am going to do a little bit more of, but right now she's
Mhm.
my gig to kind of see how I feel about coaching. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Well, that's good stuff. Glad to hear it. Stay in touch.
Of
Thanks for
course.
coming on again, and let's go get it.
All right. Well, I'll keep you up to date on what happens. Maybe I'll reach out even if I hop out of social media. Just give everybody a little sneak peek and then pop
Yeah,
out, pop, see what happens.
yeah, definitely stay in touch. Let me know how you doing. And like I said, those that truly care and concerned about you, yeah, reach out to them. But I mean, you can't. You're right. You can't let everybody in your circle. So keep your circle
Yep.
small.
Yep.
Talk soon.
All right. Have a good day.
Bye bye. You too.
Bye.
Marika Beal, IFBB Women's Physique Pro Olympian, into the season. Looks like she may do Shreveport, and who knows. But always good to talk to her. She's a great person, not just a great competitor. So check her out and follow her and go from there. I want to reach out to everyone that has subscribed to the YouTube channel. I appreciate you. Everyone that has reached out and subscribed to amazonsfitmag.com. And those, of course, that have purchased the magazine. Appreciate all your support because when you do more, I can do more for them. And so stay tuned. More coming up with photo shoots that I got planned. The May issue will be out May 15th, my birthday. That will be the anniversary issue. Right now, I am planning to go to Pittsburgh. So I hope to see everyone there. If you want to book a shoot, just simply reach out. Until next time, always remember not everybody's going to like you, but it doesn't mean that everybody hates you. But it does mean that everybody is watching. So give them a show. We will see you next time.